And just like that, it's Friday. Hi, everybody. Um, I'm Russ Kane, and this is the Midday Show. No Phil Dave. Finished. History. Don't even know who he was. It seems like that Rupert phoned him up and said, Phil, I'm thinking of getting married for the 28th time, and I need your advice. And Phil said, okay, I'll just get my cravat. Oh, don't worry about your cravat, Phil. Just get round here. I need that special Phil Dave magic. And so he's not on the show today. How are you? How is? Oh Christ, that sounds like Holly Bloody Willoughby, doesn't it? How are you? Are you all right? Hope to God I never run into it. That would be horrendous. Now, so much happening. So much happening. Here's a little thought. I'd love your thoughts on this, right? I'd like your thoughts on this. So, by the way, Chantal rocking up at 12:30, of course, with all her fabulous things. We can chat about a few things. We're not allowed to talk about Gladiator 2 yet because you can't give an official review. You can do it on social media, but not if you're an official reviewer. So you can't go on the media and do that. But we can say that we saw it. So I have to do that because Chantal's very proper when it comes to the BAFTA members and blah, 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 that sort of thing. Right. I put a post up last night. If I put a post up about Ebony the Mini Schnauzer, that's just what we don't want. If I put up a post about the past and, something to do with, nostalgia. I did a thing about Green Shield stamps. Do you remember your mum and dad getting you to lick the books of the Green Shield stamps? Holy God. My mum gave me that job. I should go to the kitchen drawer, right? I said, Russell. I go, yes, ma'am. Little Russell. And I go, I should open this magic, like the TARDIS in there, right? I should open this magic kitchen drawer. And out would come this humongous amount of Green Shield stamps. And she sent me at the kitchen table. Could you stick them in the book? Could you stick them in the book for me? Christ. Eventually, your tongue is like that. It's really horrible. So when I got a little bit older, I thought, well, sod this for a lark, right? I know what I'm going to do. I'll get a little bowl of water and go and then do that. But even that, eventually, your tongue feels like that. And or for the Green Shield stamps. I can't remember what the hell she got with it. I think Pop got them. My dad, I call him Pop, got them for. I think got them from petrol. I think got them from petrol. Who knows? And then it became Argus. Remember? Now it's Argus, which is the nearest. If I go to Argus, that is the nearest I get to going on holiday because I pretend I'm sitting in an airport, and when it calls your number, bing bong, I go, oh, that's my flight. Only valid until midday. What is only valid until? I'm not Ray. Hello, Ray. Only valid until midday. What is it? Oh, pinch punch. Oh, right. Yeah. Hang on. Well, I just squeezed it in. Ray Gillen. How wonderful to have him on the show. One of the world's, joking aside, one of the, when you see a movie and it's got great sound, that'll be Ray. Ray does the sound for movies in what they call post-production, and he is one of the top experts in the world. I've known him for many years, and an incredibly nice and modest chap. So now, hello, Ruth Laurie Hopper. Hope you're well. Hope everything is okay. Now, so when I do silly posts, like Green Shield stamps on my dog, or me in yet another empty tube. Oh. Right. So this thing about me and empty tube carriages. It's a silly thing, and people seem to like it. So I take a picture of myself if the carriage is empty, and people go, "Oh no, right." Yesterday, I was meeting my pal Lloyd for a snack, and I had like trains, buses, and shit. It was just a stupid damn journey because of roadworks, which I'll come on to in a minute. Anyway, I used the Northern Line, which is revolting. Those carriages are a freaking disgrace. I mean, they're out like a fifth world, eighth ranking world. Oh, it's horrible. They were filthy, and it was crowded. And the carriages are really old, really beaten up. The floors are just look like shit, right? And I think, well, this can't get much worse. Anyway, it's not a long journey. Big deal. It's fine. Right? Woman gets in right opposite me, and it's busy, right? Not my usual empty carriage. Strangers on a train. Write that down. That could be Ray. Write that down. That could be a good title for a movie. Strangers on a train. Ray, you can have that one on me. Anyway, woman goes. It sits there right, with her mate, right opposite me. I'm going. What the hell's that? Because the Northern Line carriages do not smell great to start with, right? And she opens a bag, gets out a bloody great bowl of Tupperware, starts eating curry. Curry. Not a chicken sandwich. Ooh, curry. It stank. So I waited until the next station, gave her a look as much as to say, die, bitch, die. And then I just changed carriages. That's what I did. God, it stank. No, I quite like curry. I don't know. Not on a train. In a kitchen, right? That's all right. Not on a tube train. There's nothing worse, right? And people go, if you're a nurse, maybe between shifts, trust me, she was not a nurse, right? But if you're a nurse and you're rushing, and I get it, you know, you're working a gazillion hours a day, God bless you, and all the rest of it. But people get on the tube and start eating fast food, and I just want to get it and just like empty it on their heads. I have a lot of repressed anger. A lot of repressed anger. Anyway, that was that. So there's roadworks which are causing. This is great, right? And then I get on to the main thing I want to talk about, right? So there's an area which straddles two councils, right? Oh, crazy name, crazy gal, Eve Phantom. Probably last night, probably her favorite night of the year, isn't it? Eve Phantom with the Halloween. Another American bullshit import we don't need. Right. Anyway, there we go. Hello, Eve. So, where the hell was I? Oh, yeah, Robert. So the area straddles two councils, but obviously the councils don't talk to each other. So they've put in the biggest roadworks you've ever seen, which are, and they're four-way traffic lights in some places, four-way, right? So you got a situation where the roads are gridlocked. I actually took a tube to get another bus yesterday, so I wouldn't have to sit on the bus because it wouldn't move in the traffic. Holy God. So the jams are at minimum in all directions, seriously, all points of the compass, about 2 miles of solid traffic. Fantastic. And it's half term, apparently. I don't know. Somebody mentioned it to me and they said it's half term. Wait till everybody's back at school. Oh, whoa. How often do you get to see your friends? Just popped into my mind because you know, my work as a celebrant. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of funerals. I've got another 2 funerals coming up now. With new clients, I don't mean new people who are dead. Come on, stop it. I mean, new funeral directors that I've never met before, which is very nice. Nice to be recommended. I'm most obliged and grateful. But it makes you realize, right, that life is pretty short. It's not a dress rehearsal. This is it. We're here. We have one go on the merry-go-round and then you're off. Right? And last week I had 3 funerals, as you know. I think I've mentioned it. And one was a chap who was 99, still working, very famous actor. That was lovely. And the other 2, one, I won't mention any names. One was a woman in her 40s, and one was a chap in his 50s. Right? Both younger than me, possibly younger than you. I don't know. But I reached out to like some of my best pals, and I said, you know, we always say, oh, let's do lunch and all that sort of Californian crap. Just do it. neither of those of the three funerals, one was 99, he'd been ill for a long time, and it was a miracle that he was still there. An amazing man, an amazing chap, right? But the other two were in the middle of their lives, working, friends, popular, following their hobbies, cooking and gardening and going to the cinema, which they loved, and all of that. They didn't know each other. They're all strangers, right? And they didn't expect to just boom die like that. When I said to my pal Lloyd, who I've known since 1973, something like that. And I said, let's stop putting off, because we always have stuff gets in the way. Don't let stuff get in the way. That's my kind of main message. It's a message, right? I mean, you're all over 21, you make up your own minds, but I mean, you don't realize how sudden it is. It's so sudden. And so many of the funerals that I do, it's unexpected. Some of them are not. Some of them have been, some of the deceased have been ill for a while. It was not unexpected. Sad for the families, but not unexpected. But when someone's like in their 40s and 50s, even early 60s, and they just drop like a stone, boy, oh boy. So don't put off stuff. Don't put it off, because this has taught me, like I didn't know, but it just reinforces so hard. Because the people are in shock. I mean, the lady who died, who was in her 40s, very smart, worked in IT. The funeral was packed with all her colleagues. She worked for a very, very big IT company, it's a household name. And they were in such shock and so sad. And I wonder if they thought, oh, why didn't we go out and have that drink? And why didn't we go and have that coffee? And we were going to hook up for lunch, or we're going to hook up for dinner, So don't put it off. You got to grab life. It's not easy, I know, but it's a salutary lesson, isn't it? Do you think it's strange? And then I'm going to get onto some politics. Do you think it's strange that I find it very peaceful when I am in cemeteries? I suppose you'd call them cemeteries. Some are memorial grounds. One was amazing. It was out in Epping, right? In Epping Forest. And they've got 53 acres there. 53 acres. The most beautiful scenery. Gorgeous. And the chapel, we call it the chapel, it's probably got another name. For the sake of, you know what I'm talking about, right? Was ceiling to floor glass. And so all the guests, and it was heaving, stare out over the 53 acres of woodland through the glass, and I'm facing the audience, obviously. It was so beautiful, so peaceful. And, I spend a lot of my time in Soho and the West End, mostly Soho and stuff like that. And everything I do is pretty loud. And I find it so, isn't this awful? I find it very relaxing and very peaceful. And I feel completely at peace there. Weird, isn't it? Don't find it creepy. Don't find it creepy. I don't find it sad. I don't find it miserable. I find it a place where you can just go and just be. Does that make any sense? Let's go straight up to Scotland now, to Fife, on the shore of Scotland, to Mr. Dave McSleety. Hey, greetings, one and all. Dave has changed his Facebook profile picture. He's probably waiting for a call to be in the new Leonardo DiCaprio movie. That's all I've got to say on that. Very nice man. And I won't put off. Next time you're in London, we will hook up. Well, even if we just have a cup of coffee, but we probably have a bit more. But you know, right? Okay, politics. Here we go. I put up a post yesterday, and it was a quote I was looking for, and I found from Henry Kissinger. Not a man that I had a hell of a lot of time for, to be honest with you. I thought he was pretty evil, but. And it's this. What do you do when you want to control a country? Now, they ran the great experiment. Let's call it what it was. So when COVID came along, they ran the great experiment. Could we lock down the entire population of the world in a couple of weeks and put them under house arrest? Effectively, you think about it, you can dress it up any way you want and make it, charming, fluffy, and cuddly, but we were under house arrest, right? And we did it like the good sheeple that we are, because we thought we were doing the right thing. So they thought, yeah, well, that worked. Wasn't that good? That Jacinta, what's her name? That woman from New Zealand? Looks like a raving lunatic. Anyway, and they gave her a damehood. What the hell? So you get rewarded. We know this. The worse you are, the greater the rewards. And the nicer you are, and the harder you work, they couldn't give a monkeys. So the great experiment, it worked. They locked us all down, and we all behaved, and we all clapped the NHS, and we did all that. So it was like mass hysteria. It was like Diana's funeral. It was like mass hysteria, really, wasn't it? Very carefully manipulated, but what the hell? And yes, before you say anything, I had 3 vaccines. I went, boom, shove it in me. It's going to be great. I won't have any more. I won't. I keep getting offered COVID vaccine. I'm not having it. I've had 3. I'm still here to tell the tale. You're still here to tell the tale. That's the main thing, right? So anyway, if you really want to control people, and I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat, but just bear with. Bear with. Miranda. I love that. What's the one thing everybody needs? Food. The one thing everybody, any religion, race, color, creed, it doesn't matter. You need food. You don't have food, you die. Simple as that. And just bear with me, because I'm going to try and join the dots, and I want to see if you agree or if you think I'm raving mad. During the pandemic, when everyone was a little bit occupied, thinking, shit, what the hell? What is this? What is this? The Walking Dead? So anyway, during the pandemic, who bought up the most amount of farmland in America? Come on. Who bought up? Under all sorts of different company names, shell companies as they're called. Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the biggest private owner of arable land in the United States of America. Does that not ring an alarm bell with you? Does that ring an alarm bell with you? And you're going, yeah, but I don't live in America. I live in Croydon. Here we go. Let's just see what Dave McSleety says. I was pretty much cancelled for suggesting that the claim of a certain political leader, we will be through this in 3 weeks, was blatant nonsense. We've never been through it. The repercussions are forever. Do you understand that? I don't want this to be London-centric, because I know people watch this all over the world. I get that, right? But if you look at London and the number of businesses that never survived the COVID thing, and Dave, you were right. And all credit to Phil Day. In the days when we had a studio in Covent Garden, which we don't need, it's a waste of money. It's nonsense. It's much easier doing it this way with advanced tech, says he with the world's worst internet. Phil Dave said, never mind the physical side effects of COVID. The mental aspects of it is going to be much worse, and the reverberations will rumble and rumble and rumble on. And I looked at him in the studio. I said, oh, that's bollocks. He was right. I was wrong. He was absolutely right. The mental side of being separated and not being able, yeah, absolutely so. And the impacts are never in the Westminster vacuum. Well, I've got some views on that in a sec. So anyway, under cover of COVID, Bill Gates bought up, hundreds of thousands of acres. We're not talking about, your garden centers here. with a couple of gnomes and a palm tree. We are talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of acres of arable land. All right. So you might think, well, yeah, okay. So, all right. The food chain is as follows. The food is grown by the farmers. It then has to get to the urban areas, because in an urban area, Sidcup, Detroit, Tokyo, you grow nothing. You grow some daffodils in your garden, right? You grow some daffodils. That's it. You're not growing wheat. You're not growing crops. You're not growing barley. You're growing nothing. Nothing that you can eat. And I'm not talking about, I could be like the good life and have some tomato. You're not going to live on, 6 tomatoes a year, right? The way you control the cities is by shutting down the food supply. It's so blindingly obvious, and I'm not a genius. Trust me, I'm really not. Last week, before the budget, who came to number 10 Downing Street to talk to Keir Starmer? Oh, I can't even say his name without my mouth filling with acid. Bill Gates. What was Bill Gates doing here? What was Bill Gates talking to the not my Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister about? And then the very next week, in the budget, they do their best to destroy the farming industry. Think about it. Think about it and join the dots. And the worst thing about what was always been called very rudely by the mainstream media, the MSM, which is dead and absolutely not to be trusted whatsoever, is that all these stupid conspiracy theories, after a few years, turn out to be true. They turn out to be true. That is terrifying. And I don't subscribe to conspiracy theories. I just don't. This is coming in from Spain. Hola. Dos severos, por favor. Yeah, sí. I'm multilingual. I can ask for a drink in any language. Michael Verby, who I've known since he was a little boy, bizarrely enough, his mum and dad were best friends with my mum and dad. That's how far back this little relationship goes. I haven't seen him in 1,000 years. Anyway, hi, Russ. I'm embarrassed now to think that I was taken in by millions of others and castigated the conspiracy theorists. Like you, I would not have any more jabs. They're not doing it. I don't think it's safe. And I'm talking as somebody, thank you, Michael, and I'm talking as somebody who had the top doctors during the time on. And I was supporting them and saying, oh, this is ridiculous. People, now look, I did a film a few years back and I had to hang around waiting between a film. Can you imagine me? Anyway, it was quite fun. It was quite fun. It's one of those kind of cheapy British gangster movies. And I played myself. I would have loved to have been a hitman or something. Anyway, not the point. So I had to sit with some people who were playing policemen. They were actors, but they were playing policemen, right? So it's quite weird because they're dressed in full police uniform. And I'm going back a number of years when the jabs were first being rolled out. He said, I'm not having, and I sat there and I thought, well, I've got a whole day here in a fairly small space. So don't pick a fight. That's not a hill you want to die on, right? And I said, the guy said, we started talking, chatting, over a cup of coffee. He said, I'm not having any jabs. You do know what's in those jabs. I said, well, I don't know. What's in the jabs? Expecting him to tell me some chemical compound, pharmaceuticals. Bill Gates has put nanobots in those jabs. And those nanobots are reporting on you and following you everywhere. And they're in your bloodstream. And I thought, oh my God, I've got an entire day with this lunatic. I thought it was complete. No, that's garbage. That's taking it to an extreme. No, I don't think Bill Gates, as much as I think he is highly suspicious, I put it that way, as much as I wouldn't trust him. I mean, what was his name? Right, so I'm coming on to you in a minute, Dave, because it's a good point. I don't think he was putting in nanobots to follow us around. Does he want to follow me? What does he want to follow any of us around for? He give a shit. What? Ooh, Russell has gone to Lidl today. He paused slowly at the middle aisle looking at some trainers that he thought he might buy until he turned out they were plastic, and he bought some more spaghetti and some toilet paper. Who cares? No one cares. Not important. Not running a country. So no, I don't go with there were nanobots and they're linked to the oh yeah, I forgot the other bit. And they're linked to the 5G masts. No, mate, have a word with yourself. Have a word with yourself, right? But I don't think they did the testing fully. I think for the next 20 years, there'll be stuff coming out. Because don't forget, long-term illnesses take forever. Will I have the flu jab? Yes, I'll have the flu jab, because that's been going for many, many decades. I will take the flu jab. Whatever you do, and by the way, I'm not saying do or don't. You're over 21. Leave that to the BBC to lecture you. I'm not going to lecture you. We're having a conversation, right? But whatever you do, and I know people have done it, they thought, I'll get it over in one go. And they have the flu jab and the COVID jab at the same time. They are knocked sideways for about a week. Right, this is from Dave Sleep, who's the head honcho at ANA, which is a great psychotherapeutic organization. It's important. You should look them up. The TUB, trust. Oh, come on. You've told me 1,000 days. Trust, help. The tub rating of public information totally destroyed by MSM. You can't believe anything in it because it's not news. It ain't news. It's propaganda from both sides. From both sides. It's fascinating because Chantal, who's coming on in about 4 or 5 minutes' time, she watches one set of news. I watch the other set. Well, I try not to watch news. I never watch British news because it's crap. It's disgraceful. Tub, help me with Tub, TUB. It's trust. Is it understanding? And did Bill Gates, Grandpa? Did Bill Gates? No, I wouldn't even want to meet him. I think I personally find him creepy and evil. That's just me. I do. I've always thought that. I was right. Trust, understanding, and belief is the sequence of creating confusion, division, and justification for overt control. Trust, understanding, and belief. Let me finish my point before I bring on Chantal, who is looking extra chic, extra sophisticated. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She's not. She's shaking her head, but she's looking very sophisticated. I saw that. I think she was ordering 2 pints. I think what she was doing was ordering from the bar 2 pints to come over to the table. Yeah, right. The day I see Chantal drinking a pint will be the day they make me Prime Minister. So, the point I'm making, Bill Gates comes over, and then Michael Verby, the MSM, trust, understanding, and bollocks. Well, you can't trust the MSM. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's finished. That's why we are our own news people. We're the only people we can trust. I don't mean me. I mean ourselves. Well, Eve, you're very sweet, but I couldn't mess it up much more than him, could I? I'd make a better PM. Oh, it's not a job that I would ever want. I'd never. Well, you can shut up, Dave Sleep. You can just go for a walk on the beach in Fife and get wet and windy. And then when you come back and your mum, Sue, says, would you like some tea? But you're too cold and shivery. Yeah, everyone comes on the show to see Chantal because they love her. My point is this, then I'm going to bring Chantal on, right? Right on time. Gates comes over. He knows what he's doing. He knows what his future plans are for the United States. And then within a week on the budget, they kill the farming industry. And you know what I think will bring this government down? Won't be Southport, which I can't even talk about because I'm so angry about it. I'm so disgusted by it. I'm so revolted by it. The lies, the cover-ups are just, in any decent society, they would have all resigned. They would have all resigned, but they won't because they have absolutely no moral compass whatsoever. What will bring this government down will be the farmers. And there is no one in their right mind in this country who would not support the farmers. And when the farmers come to London, then you'll see the power of the people. Speaking of the power of you mark my words. You mark my words. Because the one thing everyone can agree on, it's food. This bunch will be thrown into the dustbin of history and absolutely be finished as a party. Right. You know her. You love her. I had the great pleasure of spending time with her earlier in the week, which no doubt she probably was her high point. All right. It was my high point. Absolutely. What is this? What does this say? It's great when Phil Dave popped. Well, Phil who? That's what I say. But in all fairness, rather, truly admire you. You're very, very kind. You're very sweet. And I love these guys. Yeah. Hi, Stephen Jack. Love them. Love these guys. Bang on. Thank you. You'll see. As it was oh, that's very good, Graham. As it was Halloween, is Chantal the Scream Queen? Graham, I give you that one. Here she is. Chantal Rickards OBE.
No, hang on.
Hang on, she's running. Oh, I would take it off. What the hell is she doing? Never have curry before you broadcast. Never. A terrible mistake. Never. The bloody cheek of that woman on the train, yes, on the tube, yes. Where's she going? I don't know where she's going. A bigger up. This is showbiz, ladies and gentlemen. A bigger. Hang on. Oh, you're gonna love it. You ready?
I'm ready. This is just for you, just for the show.
God damn.
And for Graham.
Fantastic.
Just thought I'd wear my little.
I'm right. I hesitate before asking.
Yes.
But you know me, never want to shy away. Why do you have a witch's hat?
It was for Halloween last year, but I wasn't invited to a Halloween party last night. But I happened to, the dressing up box is just round the corner, so I grabbed it very quickly.
Hang on, the dressing up box?
I have a dressing up box. I'm always being invited.
Like what, like nurses' outfits? Nurses' outfits?
No, nurse. I'm way too old for dressing up as a nurse.
Oh, that's a shame. As Eve Phantom says, and she still looks glamorous. You do, even with a witch's hat. You still look like the world's most glamorous witch.
I don't think so. But anyway,
I do. We all do. No, you're way too modest. We know. We know glamour when we see it. I got 2 films for you.
Oh, good. Well,
I got 3 things very, very quickly. Then I will shut the hell up. I finally started to watch Ludwig on BBC iPlayer yesterday. Yes. Sensationally good. Marvelous.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It is the part he was born to play.
Yeah.
It's just great. It's just clever and charming and quirky, and he's excellent. That was
exactly.
No, now, your sister lives in Poland.
Does
she not?
She lives in Krakow.
She lives in Krakow. I watched a Polish film. It's called Justice. It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's a crime drama, and you think it's going to go one way. It's not like a big twist, but it's much more about you know who did it. There's no like, oh, I wonder who did it.
Oh, I see.
You know who did it.
The crime, right?
You know that you know the 3 people who did the crime, but you see the psychological and emotional turmoil it puts them in as the film unfolds. And what's interesting, it's set slightly a few years back, probably early 90s.
Yeah. Especially
as you go to Poland a lot. Okay. So there's the reverberations of the old communist regime, which the people who are not communists hate, and they hate the people who were the communist enforcers, but they were so damn good at their job, they bring them out of retirement to solve the case.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really good. And the other one, you're going to laugh at the title and think I'm an idiot. We probably think that anyway. But just hold on for a second. I think it's on Netflix. It was a 3-part documentary called The Manhattan Alien Abductions. Now, I know the title's a genius.
I can't believe you watched that. I don't know what it is, but I can't even believe.
I love stuff like that. I love all that. I love it. the point about it is, it's not about, ooh, are there aliens? And it's not all that at all. It's the way in which, and it's all true, in which a very
What, the alien
a very highly considered scholarly man is completely caught up in what clearly is a woman's brilliant hoax. And you see, and the whole thing is filmed because the scholarly man is married to a filmmaker who's very sensible, and she's filming the whole thing. So you've got various strands which you would love because you're a program maker, and I thought this is right up Chantal's. Where's the jeopardy? As you always say to me, where's the jeopardy? You see their marriage disintegrating as the scales fall from the filmmaker's eyes, the wife, and she's thinking, my husband's being sucked into this crap. This is ridiculous. It's obviously phony. Yeah. But it's a genius hoax because I cannot believe it's true. Right. So that's cool. So those are 3 things to watch out.
I did meet somebody once who used to go around saying that he had been abducted by aliens. I mean,
Was it Phil Dave?
No, this is about 30, 35 years ago when we did a program about abduction and UFOs. And I met a guy. I drove somewhere across the Pennines to meet this bloke.
Oh, you're brave.
He might have been a police officer from memory.
Oh.
And he was in somewhere like Pendle, which is supposed to be all a bit sort of woo-woo spooky. Up in the up on those Pennines between Yorkshire and Lancashire.
I know it well.
And I've met this chap, and I sat there for 2 hours and interviewed him. And he was absolutely convinced he'd been by aliens.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fascinating afternoon because, I mean, clearly this guy believed everything he was saying.
Of course.
But it's just extraordinary. It was a great story. I was totally transfixed.
They are 3-dimensional stories that you think you can reach out and touch.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing, though, in America, they never ever abduct a doctor, a professor, a nuclear scientist. It's always a load of yahoos who've been out on the lash in their pickup truck for 5 days, get completely pissed. We were abducted. No, you went out and got pissed and didn't want to tell your wives.
Yeah, it's a poor excuse for the wife.
It's like, sweetheart, I was abducted. I swear to God. What's this? Dave Sleet watched Anthony Hopkins as Sigmund Freud last night. Such a masterclass in not overacting. Ooh, I love Anthony Hopkins.
Right.
I think he's fantastic.
Yes, he was one of my guests on the Parkinson show about 35 years ago, and I had the pleasure of doing the pre-interview with him and then meeting him on the day. So, yeah, fascinating bloke who I think for many years has lived in the United States. I presume he's still there.
Probably. I think you know what I love about Anthony Hopkins? Did you see the film Father, where it's a brilliant interpretation of how dementia, something very close to you and my hearts,
indeed,
affects you. And the film is an amazing film, just called Father. And it really affected me when I watched it, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I may have seen it with you, to be honest. I'm not sure. May have done. It was one of your screenings. It was one of your screenings.
Could be.
And the other actors couldn't get over the fact that he'd be sitting there like playing a game of cards or laughing and joking, just having a chat like we are, go onto the set, and within 30 seconds he was like ripping your heart out with emotion. They'd go cut and he'd go back to, there was none of this method acting. He just switches it on and switches it off. I love that.
Extraordinary. Yeah, I think method actors are quite difficult to work with if you're not another method actor, because they have to stay in character for the whole day. Sometimes they stay in character for 2 or 3 months, both on and off screen, which must be really hard to deal with, actually.
But you know the story about Dustin Hoffman and Lord Laurence Olivier in Marathon Man?
No.
So Dustin Hoffman decided to get to the bit where he's being chased, and the dentist scene. Is it safe? Is it, that one?
Yeah.
And he'd like starved himself and looked awful. And he came on the set. This is true. It's in so many books. And Lord Olivia goes, "My dear boy, you look terrible." He says, "Well, I've been starving myself, and I'm really getting into the role, and I haven't washed, and I've got, I'm fasting." And he says, "Dear boy, have you ever tried acting?" That's it. That's what
Good
it is. Just
line.
try acting.
Very good line.
Nicolas Cage pulled out some of his teeth.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit. That's
it's mad.
Very nice.
Oh
dear.
Oh, this is interesting. Jimmy Nesbitt had to stop Murphy's Law, not a show. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. He had to stop Murphy's Law because his family couldn't cope. Really? What?
I don't know what that show is, I'm afraid. Don't know what
wasn't it an Irish police drama, Murphy's Law?
No idea. And this is from the lovely Paula Southern. Just right. Paula and I used to work together on Capital Radio.
Oh.
She was fantastic to work with. And we had this thing about she had a breakfast cereal. It was called Just Right. And it just became a joke between the two of us that everything was just right. What is Andy Weir? I don't know who that is, Paula. If you want to explain, we would love to know. I don't know who Andy Weir is. Right. What has come across Gladiator 2?
Gladiator.
No, you have to be careful what you're going to say. I'm shutting up.
We have to be careful. So we had a date. We had a date on Monday night.
It was a date.
Well, it wasn't. You know what I mean. It was a BAFTA screening, and off we went. And we did have a drink afterwards, which was very lovely.
We did, yeah. You had a cup of tea.
Yes, and we got free popcorn and free water. And the water came in cans, and we were all asked to open our water at the beginning so that we didn't each go popping open our water cans.
You have to explain one thing, because everyone was laughing. So it's Leicester Square. It's a big BAFTA thing. It's absolutely packed. Not a seat to be had. And as the lights go, like 2,000 people go click. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So if you're now at one of these screenings, you have to open the water can before the movie starts, because otherwise people get deep.
It was so funny.
Well, we got free popcorn. I ate 2 bags of popcorn.
You did. You were very cool. But because you're so ladylike and elegant and glamorous, right? You managed to demolish. You're sitting right next to me. You eat 2 bags of popcorn. I didn't even see one little pop go in. Me, I'm like a horse with a, horse nose bag.
Oh, no. Actually, I don't like people eating in the cinema. But
sorry.
I know.
You didn't tell me not to bring a barbecue. I was a bit peckish. I just had a barbecue, a few sausages, burgers, what it's like. Yeah.
So the movie, just for our lovely listeners and viewers, the movie comes out in 2 weeks. And the general rules are, if you are a BAFTA member and a voter, as I am, you are not allowed to review the movie before the official date of reviews. That hasn't yet happened. I double-checked this morning to see if the reviews are out there, but they are not. Once the reviews are out, you can pretty much say what you like. Yeah. So, but I can say that we had a very nice time.
We had a lovely evening.
That Paul Mescal is a genius. A Star is Born. He's definitely Hollywood A-list after that.
Oh,
film.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss much more about the film either next Friday.
What's he been in, Paul? I don't know.
He came to fame in something called Normal People, which was a drama about 2 students in Dublin, at Trinity College, Dublin.
Oh, okay.
That came out on the BBC about 4 years ago and won a raft of awards. He did a small independent film last year that was up for a BAFTA. It was nominated actually for a BAFTA, but didn't win one, I don't think.
Okay.
And he's very, very fine. When I first saw him act, he was sort of small and, quite, slim and a bit sort of weedy. Oh my God, he is so not that man any longer.
No, he bulked up somewhat.
He spent some time in the gym. So if you remember what Russ Kane looked like in the original Gladiator, I think,
Yeah, they're ripped. Let's not kid ourselves. They're ripped, these guys.
Ripped. But we will talk about it proper.
The weirdest thing, I'm obeying your rules, but I will say this: that suddenly in the credits, they were coming. I saw Matt Lucas. I thought, well, it can't be our cuddly Matt Lucas. Matt Lucas in Gladiator 2, right?
It was
like having Keith Lemon in Alien or something.
Yeah.
So
It was a surprise. So, yes, I don't think the cast is a secret.
No, the cast isn't
are
a secret. Just seeing Matt Lucas pop up, it's like, anyway, I wrote to him. I wrote to Matt and I got a lovely reply. Yeah, I did.
How nice.
Yeah, I got a lovely reply immediately. It was very sweet of him. He's such a nice guy. Such a lovely fellow.
That is tremendous.
Right.
Good.
This is, yes, Midas Man about Brian Epstein on Amazon.
I've started it.
Everyone who's seen it says it stinks.
Well, I've watched the first half an hour and I want to know more and I want to watch more because actually I suddenly thought I want to know more about him as a human being because I don't really know the Brian Epstein story.
Oh, do you not? Oh, well,
No.
if you're, so yesterday I had lunch with Lloyd Beanie and he and I are lunch, we had egg on toast, to be honest, and we're both Beatle fanatics. So everything about the Beatles, we live, breathe, had done since we were children. Seriously, and still do to this day. So Brian Epstein to us is, we kind of know a lot. So if you're going to do a film about Brian Epstein, it's got to be up to the standard that Beatle fanatics would want. I think that's the problem. That's the problem.
Okay. Well, how stupid am I? I hadn't even realized that he was from a Jewish family. Now, that's just me being obtuse and stupid. It just sort of didn't occur to me. It was just a name.
Well, furniture business.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know that. I didn't know any of that. And Eddie Marsan, who plays his father in the...
love Eddie Marsan. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely love it. But I'm going to watch a bit more just because I'm really interested in the story. I should probably pick up a book and read a decent biography of the time.
He was homosexual in a time when you couldn't really be gay.
Now that I knew. Yeah,
you couldn't be that. So that was all hidden. He was actually really very shy, very, very quiet. And if you really love the Beatles, you know two things. One, of course, he took 4 lovable mop tops and made them into the biggest band the world has ever seen.
Yeah.
But 2, he was a terrible manager, terrible in as much as he didn't understand merchandising. So whereas, I know Paul is worth, I know they're all worth millions, Paul and Ringo are worth millions and millions. We know that, obviously hundreds of millions. But the merchandise, he basically didn't understand merchandising and he gave it away for nothing. Yeah, really. He didn't understand. Now, if you think, well, you're much younger than me, but if you lived through Beatlemania, everything you could possibly have was made into merchandise relating to the Beatles. And he did not tap that market. He sold it for flumpence. Wow. Unlike Gene and Paul from Kiss, who totally understood merchandising, have over 5,000 to this day, 5,000 merchandise lines, which is why Gene Simmons is worth, even now, over 400 million.
Good Lord.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Well, I had no idea.
Yeah, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons are worth approximately 400 million each. That's just through the merchandising.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, not the record sales.
Okay.
Much.
Well, I'll probably watch a little bit more of the show on Amazon. And just because, for my own edification.
What are the Beatles like? Are they credible? The actors?
The voices are quite good. The guy who plays John, his voice is pretty good. And the Ringo voice is pretty good.
We just have to listen to Tom of the Tank Engine, don't we?
Yeah, it looks quite authentic, but I'm going to reserve judgment until I've actually watched a bit more because I've only watched about the first half an hour.
Well, it's interesting because joining us at our Egg on Toast yesterday was someone very senior in the music industry who I've known for many. I hadn't seen him for about 10, 11 years, but very nice guy and hugely influential in music. I'm not going to say many names. And he said, he was not happy about it. And he knows his onions.
Okay. All right. Well, there we go. Right.
Oh my God! Look at this coming in from Glassy Amanda. Would you like to read it out, Chantal?
True story. My dad used to stay with Brian Epstein's parents and was asked to back the Beatles.
No.
He said no, as he knew nothing about music and didn't have any money. Holy moly! Wow.
Oh God!
That's astonishing.
Oh dear God.
That is amazing. What a great story.
Oh, Glassy Amanda, I feel sick. I feel physically sick.
No. Oh dear, there we
Well,
are.
everyone's a Monday morning quarterback, aren't they? As they say. Everyone's a genius. Hindsight is 20/20 vision.
Too true. Now, I'm going to take you around the world very quickly
Hey.
with a little selection of things from Australia, Morocco, Dublin, Sweden, here, there, and everywhere. And I'm going to start in Australia.
Okay.
There is a brand new series out on Netflix called Territory. It's in 6 parts. I'm sure it will go on. It's been pretty well received by the audience so far. Fun enough, it reminded me rather of Dallas, mainly because everybody's wearing a 10-gallon
They
hat.
had the Dallas reunion.
No, well, I'm
no,
not
no,
sure.
they just had the Dallas reunion
Oh,
at
did they
Southport.
had one?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because the Poison Dwarf is
Charlene,
like a mate.
who you and I know.
her.
Well, we both know Charlene.
Bizarrely, Charlene, you know her. And she posted a picture this morning from Southport.
Did she? Well,
I was so excited.
Well, I haven't been on Facebook today.
I don't get out much.
No. Oh, well, there we are. Well, this is definitely not Texas, and it's definitely Australia. And it all is based around the largest cattle station in Australia. This is the story, of course. This is not real. It is a drama. But this is supposed to be a cattle station that is the size of Belgium, because they go big in Australia.
They've got a lot of land. I mean, we can
a lot of land. And of course, there is a family, a feuding family that not only feuds with itself inside its own family unit, but feuds with everybody else outside. Ooh. So there is a patriarch who's not a very nice man. There are 2 sons, one of whom has already been passed over, and the farm is going to be left to the second son. But in the first 5 minutes, the second son dies mysteriously. So setting the whole thing up is the first son, who is a drunk, going to get the ranch, or is it going to be his children who come from 2 different mothers?
Is there a hot wife? There's got to be a hot wife or a hot widow.
There's a hot wife. There's a great hot wife. Great hot wife.
Guaranteed.
Who, comes from the neighboring farm. And when I say neighboring, that's probably about 300 miles. But the neighboring farm of cattle rustlers. It's beautifully set up. It's in fact,
Wayne will arrive any minute.
It's incredibly well set up. It's sort of like Yellowstone. It's modern day, of course. So they're all flying around in helicopters and little planes and driving 4x4s, and so it's incredibly well done. It's got all the age groups. So you've got the young pretenders at the bottom who are in their 20s, either going off the rails to some extent or not, as the case may be. Then you've got the middle-aged folk, all very good looking. And then you've got the grumpy dad at the top who basically gets on with nobody. But it's very well set up. I've watched the first 2.5 episodes. I'm definitely going to watch it through to the end. The first series is only 6 episodes.
Okay.
It shows Australia off incredibly well. And what I had forgotten was that there's suddenly a scene where they go to the beach, and you think, well, yes, of course, because Australia is an island. So all of this, the Northern Territories, of course, it's all, it is part of the bit that is coastline. And you don't think of a cattle ranch with the coastline, but it's all very beautiful and very beautifully done. Great big wide open spaces, a very good music score, and a cracking script so far. So it's called Territory. It's on Netflix. It's only 6 episodes, and I am definitely going to watch more. Yeah. Excellent. So I think you'll enjoy it. It feels a bit sort of Dallas meets Succession. There's a bit of that. The sons, the dad, the family dynamics, all of that sort of stuff. But I've really liked what I've seen so far.
So the only thing missing really is Joan Collins wandering in.
There is. Yes, interestingly, there isn't a sort of vampy woman in it. Well, not yet, anyway. There's no sort of Colbys and Dynasty. It's not quite that, because they're all in jeans and cowboy hats, basically. So, but anyway, I think you will enjoy it. So, so look it up. And then I'm going to take you very briefly to Miami for something that is so ridiculous and so bonkers. And it's so bad that somehow it's actually good. And I can't quite put my finger on it, because it shouldn't work. It's sort of melodrama. It's sort of comedy drama, but it's not comedic in that regular sense.
Right.
And it's something called Dr. Odyssey. Have you seen it yet?
No, never heard of it.
It's on Disney Plus. It's from Ryan Murphy, who is one of the biggest producers of, should I say, let me say popular television as opposed to schlock television.
Populist.
Populist
television.
I don't like the word populist.
Neither do I, but I decided to use it.
Okay, well, fair enough. But I would say popular. So he did Glee, he did Pose, he did Nip Tuck, all sort of slightly overblown and slightly overplayed.
Okay.
Modern America. And as you may remember, my dad was very briefly a ship's doctor for Cunard 50 years ago.
Wow.
60 years ago. And in fact, possibly even more, but I mean, a hell of a long time ago. And he did the trip between Liverpool and New York to raise a bit of extra cash for his young family at the time. Anyway, this is about the new handsome doctor who is just about to become the ship's doctor. Nobody can quite understand why this incredibly accomplished man, who's absolutely champion in all his fields of medicine, is suddenly going to become basically a floating GP. It doesn't quite make sense. And he sort of walks in and you can hear, but not really, the sort of da-dum moment. But it's played out in that sort of Latin, rather melodramatic way. And he arrives on board. And basically there's a different story in each episode.
It's the Love Boat. It's the Love Boat for 2024.
It's the Love Boat with doctors.
There you go.
And it's totally overblown. I mean, it's just tremendously silly fun. But
I like that.
There's something quite grabby about it. And you might watch it and think, this is such absolute pap and nonsense and total tripe. Fine. Switch off. But if you want something really froth, bubbles, silliness, soapy, that literally washes over you, this is the show. And
I think that's why Rivals has been well received, isn't it? Because it's just ridiculous nonsense. But people are in the mood for silly nonsense.
Yeah. And somebody said this is Rivals at sea. And there's a sort of bit of that. It's as camp as Christmas, basically. But if that's what you like, then just go and enjoy it. Just soak it all up. But it really is as camp as Christmas.
You know what I think? You know, we live in very grim, dangerous times. We don't know what's going on. People are really quite nervous and concerned. And having something which is just pure froth is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, pretty good.
Why not?
It helps your mental health. I believe it does. Genuinely. It does.
Which doesn't lead me easily into the next place I'm going to take you around the world, which is Afghanistan. It's basically, I watched this documentary last night because I'd walked through Victoria Station yesterday where everybody seemed to be selling poppies, and there was a military band of maybe 40 or 50 musicians in the middle of Victoria Station playing great tunes, and everybody standing around and applauding in the right places, and making donations to the British Legion and buying their poppy badges.
Great.
To show their respect and to help the work that is done for veterans in the UK. And we know all of that stuff here. And of course, in the US, veterans actually are regarded even more highly than we regard them here.
Absolutely.
So that was really what made me watch something that I'd read the review of about a week ago. And I thought, do I really want to see the real life story of 10 squaddies, not only squaddies, but 10 Welsh Guards soldiers who went off to Afghanistan. And I thought when I came back last night, actually, I'm going to watch it because it was so well reviewed. And I thought, yeah, I think I need to see this. It's 10 years since the Brits pulled out of Afghanistan.
Wow, isn't it?
It was our most fatal modern war. Nearly 500 people lost their lives. 500 military personnel lost their lives. Yeah. And this is the story of 10 regular guys who all signed up to be Welsh Guardsmen. And it's their story. They are very reflective. They are very pensive. They are very thoughtful. It is unbelievably well done. It's just pinpoint accurate in the pacing of it. without it being schmaltzy, without sort of intentionally ripping your heart out. It's a very good documentary.
Where's it on? Which channel?
It's BBC.
And what's the title?
And it is called Helmand Tour of Duty. If you want a really thoughtful documentary about what it's like to be a regular guy in a very irregular time of their lives, and giving clearly a lot of the people who were in this particular troop did not make it back. And I think there had been 24 of them and only 16 or 14 came back.
Ooh.
But it's tremendously well done. And what is the most revelatory thing about it all is, well, the camaraderie, which is beautiful, because just see the friendships that these guys make. But all of them said they would never change a thing and that they would do it again tomorrow. And I mean, that absolutely got me in the solar plexus. Wow. So
two things come out of that.
Okay.
Really. Two things. One is, if the Russians went in, and they don't muck about, the Russians went in and got their asses handed to them, you think the British might think, this isn't really, if they can't do it, what chance have we got? That's kind of my view. And the Russians got absolutely trounced there. And anything to do with Afghanistan has never worked out. And the other thing is, you think all those people, their lives affected forever, some paying the ultimate price, and for what? Just for what?
Yeah.
That's what I find it so sad. They always, it's always, the young men and women who go out there. They are so brave.
Yeah.
And I know you've spent time with a lot of military people. I've spent a lot of time, I'm being serious now, a lot of military people. I was heavily involved with the Army Benevolent Fund, now called the Soldiers Charity, for many, many years. I served on their committee with the Lord Mayor of London and Betty Boothroyd and all of these people. And
that's fantastic.
I would be invited to, the generals, etc.'s homes for the week. I mean, all of that, Black Rod, etc. I don't talk about it that much. And when you meet them, they are amazing people.
Yeah.
Amazing people. So I have nothing but respect for the military, nothing but respect. They're incredible. They do an amazing job. And if you say to them, the ordinary squad is, which I admit, I go, you guys are so brave. And they look at me like I'm mad. And they go, no, we're not. Just doing a job.
And what was interesting in this documentary, not one of them said, what the F were we doing there?
No.
Not one of them talked about any form of disrespect to the people who had made the decision to send them into battle.
And the thing I never get the chance to say is, those people making the decisions are not stupid. They are, and I would go on record of saying this, some of the most intelligent, articulate, educated, thoughtful people I've ever met in my life, in any walk, in any sphere. They're extraordinary people.
Yeah.
And they respect the troops so much. It's so easy in the media to think they treat them like, you think it's Blackadder and it's Stephen Fry sending people to get off to be massacred. It's nothing like that.
No.
They respect their men so much. And remember, the other thing is, the guys joined up. They didn't join up to train. They joined up to do a job. So when it's time for action, that's like, well, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
It's a different mentality from you and I, who are civilians and, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are 3 wives also interviewed, and I won't spoil it by telling you what the wives said, but again, it was just beautiful and it's worth watching.
It's so hard on them being left behind.
Yeah.
That sounds magnificent. Just tell us the details one more time.
BBC, and it's called Helmand Tour of Duty. Documentary. I think it's on BBC Two, but obviously it's on the iPlayer.
On the
you can find it easily. It came out sometime this week. I don't know which day.
So some fabulous recommendations. Thank you so much.
Great pleasure.
As always. Thank you.
Lovely to be here.
You pick the things, and everyone always afterwards goes, "What did she say? What did she say?" So thank you for that, Chantal. We will see you, God willing, next week.
Take care. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye. And there you have it. Another week with the Midday Show. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for being so supportive. Thank you for your wonderful comments, your interactions. The more, the better. We love it. Built a little family, little community here that we all feel safe in. And you can say what what you really feel, and no one starts yelling and shouting and screaming. It's not news night. Until Monday, when Neil Longy Long, wherever the hell he's been, I don't know, but he'll be back on Monday. Until then, take care, everybody, and try and stay out of trouble.